Climate change. Do we all know what climate change is? Yes, we do. But do we all know what this catastrophe is capable of? Are we aware of the damaging impacts it can have on our home planet? No, some of us don't know. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to share with you my story of the impact of climate change in my country. Climate change is the single greatest environmental threat to life on Earth. It not only impacts on the environment physically and economically, it also affects us socially and culturally. I firmly believe that we can do our best to lessen the risks, but it's too late to stop it. I wish to put forward to you some questions. After a flood, you came back to see your property, your possession, but it's all gone, just trash and debris everywhere. How would you feel? During the aftermath of a cyclone, you came back to see your schools, but it's all in ruins. How would you feel? Your home, the only home you ever knew, was gone. It was due to king tides. How would you feel? Food can grow anywhere due to saltwater intrusion. So what are you going to do? How would you feel if you lose your culture? If you lose your tradition? If you lose your custom? If you lose your identity? How would you feel? You'll be overcome with sadness and frustration, but above all, you'll be angry. Angry because your home is gone. The place you thought of as home is no more, because you knew that you and everybody else would have done something to lessen the distraction before your eyes. That's the result of climate change. It can bring about distraction and also loss of lives. In my country, this has happened several times. We have experienced flooding, erosions, sea level rising, inundation, and big waves occur in tremendous force. As a result, villages have been left in ruins, family links lost, schools demolished, food gardens and plantations destroyed. And sadly, the most affected were the women and the poor. In Solomon Islands, 85% of the population lives in coastal rural areas, and half of that percentage are women and children. Women in rural areas are highly dependent on local natural resources for their livelihood, because of their responsibility to secure water, food, and energy for cooking and heating. Even though women's livelihoods are threatened by environmental change, their lives are at greater risk when disaster strikes. In my country, the women are the key food providers. They make the gardens. They make sure that children have access to nutritious food. They are the herbal healers in their community. Therefore, they are the most vulnerable. Till today, they have to work 2 to 4 hours or more just to get to their gardens and plantations. And nowadays, rich, nutritious food are harder to grow, and in some places there is lack of fresh, clean water to drink. Hence, the women feel incapable of fulfilling their roles. How would you feel if you have to relocate? Start a new life in a place you know little about. It is never an easy decision to relocate. Relocating means you are taking people out of their own homes, out of their livelihoods where they have grown up for ages, and place them in a setting which they are not familiar with. For me, this is like taking the roots out of who I am. It will not only cause great hardship, but also will do damage to a person's well-being. The most toughest task facing some Solomon Islanders today is relocating. They have to relocate because the place they are currently living is unsafe. Who knows when the next flood will be? Who knows if the food will grow? Who knows if the island won't sink in 5 to 8 years' time? Are we still going to have access to fresh, clean water? Or how can we be sure that our home is capable of withstanding king tides? Brothers and sisters, how would you feel if you have to evacuate because there's going to be a huge flood? You grew up here. This magnificent country is the only home you've known. You have a business here, and it has been in the family for centuries. But you are told that there are no other option but to relocate and start a new life. Would you be content to do that? Or would you do everything in your power to let that thought be a dream and never to be a reality? For my country, I wish that it was just a dream, and sooner or later, we'll all just wake up and laugh about it. But it is reality. Climate change is reality. But when? When are we going to realize that and take action? Some of our leaders even notice climate change is knocking at their door, but they are placing it as the least important priority. Remember this, it is our job, you and I, to make climate change the #1 priority. If we don't do our part, if we don't do anything, then who will? The next generation? No, it is up to us, the present generation, and you as our leader, to act. Climate change is changing people's lives not only in my country but around the world. Solomon Islands is not a big contributor to this problem, but we are evidence of the impacts of climate change amongst other countries. Solomon Islands is a low-lying coastal country that has sustainable development challenges, including small population, remoteness, prone to natural disasters, vulnerability to external shocks, and dependence on international and foreign trade. So climate change is a huge, major issue for us. It's a barrier to the achievement of sustainable development in my country. So the questions we need to ask ourselves is, are we doing enough? Are the communities aware of what is going on? Are we educating our future generation regarding this issue? Are we serious about this? Are we willing to spread the word? The march we had today, to mark this event that happened today, I believe that we should see this event as a beginning. This is the beginning. This is our time to take our voices out there, to get out on the streets and do our job. We have to tackle this problem now. If not now, then when? We are already running out of time. We all have our task to do. This is a global issue affecting every society there are, and can only be overcome if there is a global effort. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening.
Excuse me for minding your business, but if you love our kids, please be true to that love in your heart and make a new start on a lifestyle quote, keeping it cool. It won't hurt too much if you hurry and get